Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Strategy Game Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Shippey, and today we are talking about another weed in the way. So, this series comes from my upcoming book, Seen, Known, and Heard, and How It Changes Everything. By the time this episode airs, it might be out. It's coming out in July or August. And this is weed number 2 we're talking about here, control. So, I want to give you a little context if you haven't really caught on to this whole Weeds in the Way series yet or don't know what it's about. But really, these different things came to me, and they were just different ways, like different things that can pull us out of the game, so to speak, like out of the game of walking in our purpose, staying focused, reaching our personal and professional goals. But more than that, just a way of healing. So things like stubbornness, unforgiveness, offense, control, all these things can take us out of the game. And so that's why we want to talk about them. We want to hit them head on so that we can try to work through them and get clear. And when we get clear, we can stay unblocked. So, weed number 2 is control. And what I wrote here, this is a section from our workbook that's also coming out. So we have the book and we also have the Seen, Known, and Heard workbook that prompts you to be able to work through these things. So it says, control can give us a false sense of security. Controlling our schedules, time, and even other people is something we attempt to do in some way every day. Control can make us feel like we're on top of things, like we've got it together. We pull things in a little tighter, mostly subconsciously, because we think doing so will give us a sense of peace or security. The problem with control, though, is that it's an illusion most of the time. Ugh, yikes. I mean, that just right there, it's an illusion most of the time. We don't actually have control over much at all other than ourselves. And sometimes we don't even have control over ourselves and our own reactions. So even writing this was just convicting to me personally because I was thinking about all of the ways that I've tried to control things throughout my life. So many things, right? It can be like everything from the things that you eat to the things that you wear, how you shape your appearance, like how you try to maybe control how people see you or what they think about you, or how you try to control situations with your words, using manipulation, even if sometimes we don't know that we're doing it. Like there are so many things. There are subconscious ways we can control others. And so there's a couple questions that I want to ask that might prompt some reflection. So the first is, what areas of control do you tend to cling to? So this is really like, those areas that come to mind, and just jot it down or make a note in your phone if you can. What areas of control do you tend to cling to the most? I think that would be important to identify because then that helps you set priorities in terms of processing this control. Like, why do I try to control this area of my life? And usually it stems from some type of fear. So we feel like we have to control to keep ourselves safe, or usually it's about protecting ourselves to keep ourselves safe. And sometimes protecting ourselves is what we need to do, but there may be pieces of that that we don't actually have to do or carry that we are carrying. So what we want to do is strip away anything that we're unnecessarily carrying. So think about like the rocks in the backpack example. I think I've given you that example before, where there can be like one rock at a time that you're putting in your backpack and you don't even realize it. When you're picking up other people's stuff, when you're trying to control the way this is going to go, or you're trying to control the way that's going to go. And those are all rocks in your backpack. And the problem with that is that eventually you just collapse because you can't carry the weight of that backpack. And so what we're trying to do here is take one rock out at a time so that we're not clinging to any kind of control. The second question is, what might you think about releasing? So this is about taking the rocks out. So what type of areas of control are you holding on to that may be false control anyway, meaning like you can't control the outcome anyway, but you're carrying it around? What can you release right now? And you can literally say, you know what? I release this, whatever it is. I'm just letting it go. I'm not picking it up. And that's taking a rock out of your backpack. And if you were to release it, how would that feel for you? What impact would that have on you? I want you to start to imagine the outcome, of that. How would that impact you? And what would your life look like if you were able to release that? Would you be less stressed? Would you feel freedom? Would it maybe open up space for you to dream, create something else, or operate in your business more effectively, or be more present for the people that you really care about? What are those things? What would it do for you if you were able to take that rock out of your backpack? And then what's stopping you from releasing the control? And this is probably the most important question to answer, because this is what's blocking you from releasing control. What is it? And typically, like I said, it's fear. There can be a deep-seated fear that's standing in the way of us releasing that control. And so when we're able to look under the hood, so to speak, or use the 5 whys, we talk about this a lot. Ask yourself why 5 times to unpeel the layers of the fear. Then we can figure out why we're trying so tightly to cling to something, and we can let it go. Right? So open hand instead of a closed fist. Because think about times in your life, and I've had this so many times, when you are clinging to something so tightly that it just becomes such a priority that it's too much of a priority and it almost has a hold on you. And what you want to do is make sure that nothing really has a hold on you, because that is a block that gets in the way of you running in your lane. And that's what we're all about at Storywork, right? We want to help you define your story and make it matter. Like, stay in your lane, run in your lane, have a strategy, be clear, right? And all of these things can block clarity. So I hope this episode was encouraging for you today. We'll drop some links in the show notes. And as always, if you want more, head to www.storywork.co.